I think so.
Do you think we're striving to be nice, though?
I've never striven to be nice. If striven is a verb that I can use in that tense.
Might be. Sounds right.
I think so. But I've had people say, well, that's not nice. I'm like, when did I say I was nice? Never.
I did not realize there was an entire chat going on while we weren't here yet.
You didn't notice that?
Michelle and Chloe are going off. It makes me really want to push all
it.
traffic to YouTube, though, because it makes me feel good.
This makes me so happy. Everybody's talking about Thanksgiving. We had such a fun show yesterday.
It was
the Misfits.
It was nearly good.
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic fun. Played some loaded questions, Thanksgiving themed loaded questions.
So how are we going to top that? It's Black Friday. I mean, we need to bring it if we have to make this show.
Only one way. We need to get a YouTube legend and a voiceover actor. That's how you top Misfits Thanksgiving.
Where are we going to find that? They don't just like sit around.
As it happens, I have found two.
No one answered our calls.
No. So actually, you introduced me to Nalts.
I have to say Nalts. I only say Nalts in my head.
I've got to add that link. Don't be put off. His Twitter is suspended, but it was all a big misunderstanding, and he's working on getting that fixed.
But Joanna, I swear it was wolves. So we have Kevin Nalts on, and he's so
viral
old
video.
School. He was so known for these prank videos, but he's done so much more. He's done agency work. He's got all kinds of stuff going on, but he wrote a book. We're going to do good stuff.
And then Larry Oliver is a voiceover actor, and he is kind of along the theme that I love, which is like you have a whole other career. He was like a finance executive, and then after went and became a voiceover actor. He's been doing that for about 8 years. So I love when people are like, I'm not going to just I'm not done with this career. Like I'm going to go start a whole new one. So
what am I going to do? Get a sailboat? Backpack Show.
Did we warn our guests that your parents pop by? So they better be on their very best behavior because your dad's already here.
My pop's here. I'm sure my mom's logging in. Len Joy, author. Len Joy.
Author Len Joy, award-winning sports fiction author Len Joy introduced us to Larry Oliver.
Ritesh is here bike riding at the same time. Please be safe, Ritesh. I wouldn't. I would hate for your last things to be Kevin Nalts making a weird joke in your ear right as you hit a tray.
That's not a terrible way to go.
I actually might like that. Actually, if you could film it,
you have to.
You have to do a thing. Let's go.
Not dying is preferable.
Every time I say that, let's throw Kevin in. I'm like, Nalts equals Kevin. You know what I mean? It's a thing.
It's weird to say.
Do people who know you just call you Nalts? Like, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
You get Kevin. You get Kevin by like strange clients, and I guess people who didn't grow up, around you. I guess is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, I stole the name from my brother. Actually, he was called that in college, and then I parked the YouTube name, and now I answer to that like I would Kevin.
Is he still mad about it? I bet Thanksgiving is awkward.
He's a priest, not that much online, so he's gotten over it.
That's a good point, Chip. Chip says, why do we have to be on our best behavior? We aren't the ones getting yellow cards all the time. So Tim Kitzrow, the voice of NBA Jam, is recording some stuff for us, and I'm dying because it's like yellow card, and yes, it's Brogan.
30 reads about yellow cards.
Because we need them.
It's a good transition, though, to ask Kevin, what's the prime line of the year of Kevin Nalty? What is the year where you were the most Nalts you were ever going to be?
I think
because it's behind me. Mine's behind me. I imagine yours might be too. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm a washed up. I've jumped the shark long ago.
Same.
But I think probably 2007 around then. I mean,
you were coming for yourself, gentlemen. I'm in my prime.
I'm looking for a new thing to be a prime of. You know what I mean? Yeah. I like being a trailblazer on a new thing. Do you have any suggestions?
We'll ask Larry Oliver that later, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
he seems to have done it. Your book Beyond Viral, which was what was important about that book was because you, like a lot of other people, especially in your time, were making these videos that went insane. Just, back then, by the way, insane, 1 million views was insane. Like, it's not like today where Blackpink gets like 33 million views for their video in 5 seconds. It doesn't count. Like, you can't look at today's numbers the same way. But you were getting dragged the same way so many people were into meetings to say, Kevin, you have to make us a viral video. We need millions of views on our viral video. And you were doing agency work and stuff. Yeah. Talk about that for a minute, because I feel like that's why Beyond Viral exists as a book.
Yeah, I was trying to, espouse the idea. And as a matter of fact, I resisted even putting the name viral video on the book. because the idea was that, you can get, that's lightning. It's like somebody said, it's like getting hit by lightning twice while a squirrel's humping your leg. So instead, create good content, really compelling, authentic, and, maybe it'll go viral, maybe it won't. But chasing the viral thing, especially when somebody has a marketing plan that says viral video on it, I'm like, come on,
Ugh.
Can you make this go viral?
Yeah. And then
By
they want to
next
stick
Tuesday.
in all the brand messages. Like, come on.
Yeah.
About their software
Yeah.
as a solution.
Our incredible CRM is going to move viral.
Big data.
Are you most known? Like, if I asked Google what you were most known for, would it say prank videos? Probably.
Probably so. The big one that popped was, I never knew. I never I never could predict which ones went, and my favorite ones didn't.
Right.
The favorite ones with my little kid, where I convinced him that he could plant a piece of gum and grow a gum tree.
Gum tree.
Yeah, and he was, that's exactly, it, gum tree.
Suckering kids, that's viral gold.
I know, and he for years thought that really happened. But I think they're best known for either farting in public, because that was the first one that was sort of featured on YouTube. And for a while, I made my parents proud, because if you Googled fart, I was right on the first page of Google results.
Just for fart.
Just for the word fart.
Wow.
It was epic.
You didn't even have to qualify
I'd go
it.
to a
No long
conference.
tail keywords.
I'd go to a conference and it wouldn't have to give out any domains or URLs or social handles. I'd say, if you need to find me, just Google fart.
Ritesh says still get at least 2 requests a month for a viral video.
Oh, Ritesh. We and I work together. Hello, Ritesh. Don't wipe out.
I love Chip. I used to tell brands I could make their videos go viral, but they might not appreciate the reason.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's true. If they would just take those cuffs off, I mean, you could do about anything.
Well, that's the problem, is some brands were good at that. Like, they would give the creators some freedom to make their own stuff and make it their own. And then other brands looked at it like commercials. So they would force us to put a slate at the beginning, and then everybody would drop off,
The to your point, and I want to kind of hammer this down, because, like I said, were you most known for prank videos? Because you made a lot, because you have to do what you had to do, especially back then, to sort of chase the dragon. You get the good view, you got to try to get the next good view and all that. But all the time in around those, you kept putting these like slice of life family videos, vlogging. Just was what it was. And still now, like I watch your videos. Like I liked how you were like, oh, my gum tree. I watched all your videos. Like it's not stalker level, but right about.
The moment I fell in love with you is your overnight success video. I remember sitting on my Apple TV, scrolling the top 100, as I made a regular habit of, and there it was. And I was like, oh God, I got to find out who this guy is.
Just a weirdo in a building with an elevator. But
the new business card, just Google fart.
I like now if you handed that card out, like with no contact.
Right.
So anyway, you did a lot of slice of life vlogging videos. There's so much has happened, I guess. I'm curious to know your happy person view of that and your grumpy old man view of that.
Oh, that's a great way to ask. I mean, so I like the dynamic nature of it. And initially I set out just to share some of my funny kid videos. And then I sort of got into community, and then started to get into pranks, and just changed as I went on, and learned a lot. Because I think the big thing that broke me through was just connecting with other YouTubers, which I was doing more for fun and community than anything else. If I were to say, so, I mean, it saddens me. I was on with, I don't know if you, Greg Benson, Mediocre Films. We did a little Twitch show, and we were sort of lamenting the fact that, now it's professional content. I think I always knew that. I never had this thought that I'm going to be like some celebrity for the rest of my life. I was like, I'm just going to enjoy this 15 minutes. But now it's mostly professional content. At that point, if you knew how to market your stuff and create content, you were a one-person production company. Now it really does require, joining a studio or getting serious about it.
I saw recently Logan Paul trying to explain how he'd made the first content house, and a lot of people are kind of crapping on him for a lot of his, I was the first guy who did this, or there wasn't this before me. And it just makes me think of, there's never anything new, number one.
No.
And like you and Greg Benson and his pretending to be on the cell phone, but reacting to the other people. is an endless amount of humor and entertainment. So the fact that you two were talking was going to be a great show. Here, when you started enlisting your kid and having him, use the fart noise machine in places like libraries, that was another whole level for me, because he is a deadpan master.
Yeah, the funny thing is, he's actually my nephew's friend.
Oh, nephew's friend.
I had never met him, but I had bought a fart machine, and my nephew said, "Hey, Spencer's hysterical." And we literally, from the time I bought it to the time I heard about Spencer to the time I posted this, it was all like 24 hours.
I always thought he was your kid, but what I love is
everybody does.
Fearless and deadpan.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what makes it funny, because laughing at your own joke is no good. And then the other thing too is in some cases I had to introduce the sound. But here's what I discovered in this video unintentionally, is I didn't have good mic equipment. So instead you heard me laughing, like in my rolled up camera inside of it, and I'm giggling. And then I discovered, well, that serves as sort of a laugh track, and it adds an element to it unintentionally.
So a lot of people apparently think that that's your kid. Like Gary was saying, I've watched so many of your videos back in the day, so many great
they
pranks.
wanted him back. They kept asking for him and asking for him.
Which is, you just said, was your cousin's kid's friend or something like that?
Yeah, well, actually, my nephew's buddy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing sketchy about that. You're like, hey, I've got a fart machine. You want to
it's
come
funny.
to the library with me?
I get a call after that thing popped. I got a call from the library. And I thought, oh no. And the lady says, "Listen, we loved it. Will you come and do a talk on video?" And I was like, "What?" I walked into your library, made a fool of myself, and had farts. But she said, "Look, her staff handled it really well. They were professional."
I thought they didn't like any noise in the library.
The library was an afterthought too. We were trying to do it on the street, but you couldn't hear it.
That's a good idea, Chip. He says when he worked with members of Congress, they always wanted more TV time. And he said, just go drop trowel on the mouth floor. Yeah.
Right.
Whatever works.
Presidents learned how to get good coverage. Just fart.
Just fart. So it's 2020. It's a whole different world. I mean, not this year notwithstanding being like the absolute tsunami of shit year. What are you doing in agencies, and what can you still pull from who you've always been? Because what people forget is, your big year in 2007, so to speak, and you still make videos, but we're all chasing that thing we did once. What do you bring now? Like, what are you trying to get people to get into, or what excites you now? The
common thread is, I think, provoking. You've got to, in order to get people's attention, you've got to provoke. Don't be boring. So I like to think I bring that to the table. The YouTube thing was kind of a side hustle for me. I eventually started to make as much money on YouTube as I was making working at Merck Pharmaceuticals.
Wow.
And so at that point, but I think the reason people have hired me, either agencies or Johnson & Johnson and others, is because that side hustle taught me so much. I mean, you have to learn so much about what captures people, holds their attention, how to promote your stuff. And you get hands-on, like you guys do. I mean, like, think of all the technology you had to use to be able to do the show and spread your word and share it. So you really
so easy, Kevin. You have no idea.
Wait till you see what we tell you about that. There's another guy you may or may have not met in your travels who joins us to be hanging out with us. It's our friend Steve Garfield from SteveGarfield.com.
Steve, original video blogger.
Steve Garfield, another of the celebrated names.
The OGs.
So I feel like I should point out that when you provoke, Kevin, you sometimes get suspended on Twitter.
That's right. So I'm not on Twitter now because I've been suspended for 2 weeks for quoting a movie, Full Metal Jacket, when the sergeant's yelling. And it was picked up by the AI as a violent threat. And can't get back on. I was so frustrated, I just tried to delete my account. But they won't let you when you're suspended.
You can't even delete it when you're suspended.
That sergeant, by the way, was a real U.S. Marine Corps sergeant, Arlie Ernie. So isn't that cool?
A non-actor, but what a great, it's so upsetting. That's why it's funny. It's just
Joe Jaffe's here. He says hi.
Remembers you from the Crayon days.
Jaffe.
Oh my gosh. This is like everybody.
One of the most memorable Nalts videos is when you filmed your hair transplant.
Oh, yeah. Now, I'm starting to lose it, though, back here. This is
time for a follow-up.
See, this is all never going to die because these were individually taken from the back of my head.
Oh.
But the problem is once I started getting good hair, I stopped wearing the hat, and the hat was sort of part of the branding. I don't know if you can see that.
So now nobody recognizes you now?
Yeah, nobody
like
recognized
a Clark Kent kind of thing?
That was the big thing. I don't know. Do you guys get recognized? I mean,
No.
He
does all the time.
It is not.
I am very
fun.
happy to like slink along the wall and be like, he's not affiliated with me, so I can just go get my drink or whatever.
Chris has a memorable face.
If I go to nerdy events, everyone recognizes me. But I'll tell you the through my entire life, whether or not a camera was on, is everyone thinks they went to high school with me. Everybody.
Oh, you've got that kind of face.
I guess. My favorite recognition ever was a really drunk guy. I was in Washington, D.C. A really drunk guy bum rushes the passenger side of the vehicle I'm in and goes, "Oh my God, it's the dude." And I was like, "Yes, it is."
Did he think you were Seth Brogan or something?
He thought I was,
Bridges?
Yeah, Jeff Bridges. I couldn't think of Jeff Bridges' name for a second. From The Big Lebowski.
I bet he gets people asking
I
him
had
if he's Chris
much
Brogan.
longer hair at that moment, and my beard was a little less white, but that's what happened.
Hey,
you
Chloe
reinvented. You talked about
Oh
hitting
my
the
gosh.
prime. You guys are reinventing constantly. I mean, new books. Are you satisfied when you write books, Chris? I did not
Never.
find it as satisfying as I thought it was going to be.
No. And then Larry had made the point about, you've read your own audiobooks and all that. So the worst thing in the universe to do is leave, you should leave your books dead.
Yes.
Julian and I did a 10th anniversary rewrite of Trust Agents and basically went through the whole thing going, this is bad. This is also bad. Don't do this. This is bad. We had to take out a lot of names. We were talking about how to get on the front page of Dig.
Well, that's the question of channels. It's not like it was bad advice at the time or 6 months before publication.
Some of it doesn't age well. I mean, my YouTube book does not age well. I always joke that if you want to get really good at YouTube 2007, I'm your guy. Read the book. Trust Agents is out this fall, isn't it?
It was out July. July of 2019, but it came out in August 2009. And so it's really, it's way past its prime. But
what's the next book? Okay.
The backpack.
Keep going, and then tell me the next book.
The backpack. See, who's an interviewer? Kevin Nalts. The backpack is the next one, and it is basically, in this iteration, because it changes every few weeks. This iteration is basically how if you find the small thing, small is the new big, like Seth Godin, and then you speak to them very specifically. Tribes, we want you to lead us by Seth Godin. Yeah. Then you can really have, exactly what you want. We Are All Weird by Seth Godin. I'm basically writing 3 Seth Godin books into one new book. That's
okay, cool.
I have more hair than him, and I'm taller than him. I think.
And this is just you're going to keep doing this until you
till I'm dead.
Die.
Till I'm dead. I'm like a cat lady at this point. I have to write books.
I have a question, Kevin. I know this is fun, the retrospective on Chris Brogan, but Chloe's asking, a lot of YouTube creators say you need to hyper focus on one thing on your channel. Do you think it's still viable to grow mixing?
No, I think go niche. I mean, if I were to start over again, I'd go video gaming, but I'm not very passionate about video gaming. But don't create another channel that's like everybody else's. Find something really special. I haven't made YouTube videos in a while because I haven't thought of what's something super unique and interesting. By the way, also the thing you mentioned earlier, Chris, about posting family videos, that was against the advice of a lot of people who maintained that the best thing to do is to wait, every week, create a really good one. But I sort of got addicted. It was like exercise for me. And as it turns out, that would later be discovered as a key success thing because people wake up and they look for you at 7 a.m, habit.
Steve says he calls his book a history book. Get seen.
Steve, your books are awesome. Steve inspired my most popular video. It is called I Are Cute Kitten, and it's a kitten that my babysitter had brought over. I put the cat in weird places, saying weird things. I did not know what I Are Cute Kitten was until he showed up at an event with the T-shirt, or maybe it was he had a. What are those things called that you used to put and track your phone to? I don't even. They're coming back again. Not the UPC code. The
QR code.
QR code. He had a QR code on his shirt, and he presented something about lolcats, and that's when I discovered it.
I don't want that to come back. Just FYI.
Oh, come on! I thought they were coming back.
I would like lolcats not to come back. Yeah, and you went on to make so many just like family video blogs, and very, very family, which is it's a hard way to run a show, unless you really push that and amp it up, and unless you're like Bat Dad or the Holderness family or something like that, and you really elevate it. It's tricky, but I think as we end, the one last thought I want to know is, if you did it, if you start tomorrow, they basically say, listen, Kevin, you gotta get back on there, and you've got to post regularly. Where would you start? Like, what would your collab?
Yeah, I'd collab. I mean, that was when, the conventional wisdom of the time is let's get famous people on my videos. And I discovered, no, it's not about that. It's about getting in their videos, because then you pick up their audience. So I would collab. I'd find, niche space and just really connect with other people that share the interest.
I'd really want to watch you do something with Megan Thee Stallion, but that's just me.
That's a collab.
All right. Kevin Nalts, stick around.
Belle Delphine.
Don't go anywhere. Belle Delphine. Gamer water for everyone. Gamer water for everyone. Listen, you know how you can make a show look this good? We didn't have any of these tools when Nalts was high on the horse. You just do this sort of a thing. Boop. StreamYard. See Brogan.me/StreamYard. You can make your own show. It is ridiculously easy. I was using a complicated piece of software, and Kerry said, try this. And I said, no, because I'm grumpy. And then I tried it. Grumpy. And look how easy this show is. And
you're like, get off my lawn with your StreamYard. I'm like, no, but we're try it.
And it was really good.
It was good. Yeah. And here we are.
Yeah, here we are. We're selling the crap out of this. People keep buying it. Go up on the show
because it's so easy to use.
Brogan did it. How hard could it be? And then they make their own shows. Nikki Porche can't be here in my audience right now because she has a show on right now.
Oh, no. I don't want to be up against Nikki Porche.
I would never want to fight her in any fashion, physically or looks.
She and I have the single biggest break in the history of my professional experience where I lost it completely and laughed for like 5 whole minutes on a live show.
You could write a book about that crack up. If you wrote a book, like Kevin Nalts wrote a book one time, you could put it on pub-site.com.
Yes, I run into this a lot where I'll come across a book and I'm interested and I want to know more about the author, maybe see, if we can get them on the show, and they don't have a home base, like they don't have a website. You've got to have a website. Pub-site.com makes it so easy. All the parts that you need, like all the different elements you need to integrate to have an effective author website, promote your appearances, promote your book, give people a bio, nice media kit never hurts. You can put them all together, choose your colors, choose the whole thing. pub-site.com. And the people who run it know just what you need on a book website because it's powered by FSB Associates, the very best book publicity firm in the business.
And they've only been in business for about 4 years, but they're
25 years, Chris.
They're really working it. So
25 years. And there's a 14-day free trial. So get in there and just like see for yourself how easy it is. Just like StreamYard. When I was like, Chris, use StreamYard. And you're like, no. And then you did and you loved it. That'll be like that with website.
Yes. Yeah, they're also sponsored person of the day. So if you like an Apple, and who doesn't really, you'd have to buy one. So
you could buy one, but I feel like if you're person of the day and you buy one, then you're like, I earned this.
So people don't know about this, that not only does Kerry help run the show, not only is Kerry the consigliere of the show, Kerry books 90+% of the guests. I book about 1% of the guests. Len Joy books between like 4 to 11% of the guests.
He books quite a few.
Len Joy has brought us, I don't know, he's down to like, hey, I farted next to this guy and he said, excuse me. And then he's on the show.
No. So actually, Fazia brought us Len. Fazia Burke of FSB Associates has a stable of amazing authors with amazing like personal stories as well. It's not just that they wrote a great book, but like they're boring. They're amazing. And they've had like 3 careers or something, and they're fascinating in their own right. So we get them on. Len Joy is one of those people. And so we had Len on, and he's become part of the backpack community ever since, for which we're so grateful. And he's brought us just some amazing, inspirational people. His personal trainer, oh my God, I'd be scared. Heather Collins, I'd be scared to go work out with her. She seems like she must run you ragged.
So it's his fault. We have to talk to Larry Oliver now.
It's his fault.
It's his fault. We could have talked to anybody. Oh, Suze showed up just now, by the way. I'm sorry about that, Suze. I meant to start the show right when you got here. I'm so sorry. So here we go. Here, let's start the show. Backpack Show. Welcome, everybody, and especially Susan Murphy. We wanted to let you know we're going to bring out our pal Larry Oliver, voiceover talent. Larry's the only guest we had on the show.
Thank you, Gary. No one else is here. I would like you to know that we don't make fun of the people who show up for our show, Susan. Thank you for coming, Christopher.
Larry Oliver.
Good
Hi, Larry.
morning. Happy Thanksgiving.
Same
There's
to
that
you, good
voice.
sir.
So you sound like this all the time, Larry. This isn't like you put it on for voice acting.
No, not at all. I mean, I generally try to talk in a little bit deeper voice so people aren't irritated. But, whatever you need. I have to tell you before we go on, if this is okay.
Oh,
Yeah, sure. Nobody's listening. It's cool.
All right.
Tell us.
So I was listening to Nalts, and I got a great idea. Because one of the big things in voiceover today is having very niche, specific genre demos. My next niche genre demo is going to be a fart demo. So I'm going to have 1.5 minutes of different farts. The problem is, do I do them with my voice or the other place?
I mean, that's a
Farts
personal
sometimes.
choice.
I'm going to talk with Nalts later about that.
You know what he's going to say.
Try to
Although
follow that.
He used a machine. So I mean, like yeah. So, you could go machine. The high tech route.
Well, and a lot of voiceovers, of course, do the voices and sounds of toys and machines. So maybe that's a whole idea for me.
You have done a whole slew of audiobooks. And one thing that I found
Enjoy book.
so strange. One thing I find so strange about the experience of that is that as an author, I find it interesting that audiobook fans buy based on the voice talent as well. So you have fans that will listen to you read anyone's book.
Anything.
That's true, especially some of the huge names in audiobooks. Yes, they have entire fan bases that will listen to them read well, you're all too young, but there used to be this thing called a phone book. And some of these, like a Scott Brick, can read the phone book starting with the A's, and people will listen to that.
I had a rotary phone, Larry.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Oh my
And
God.
my friends all started
number.
with 9. All their numbers started with 9. I'd be like, oh, here we go.
Take forever to dial them.
Yes.
Suze is from Canada, where electricity came last week. Larry, I would listen to you read the phone book.
Yeah, thank you.
It's Susan's birthday, and you made fun of her, Chris. You should apologize for that.
Oh, I would if I had that in me. I feel like the Fonz. So, Larry, Kerry alluded to this. You had a whole other career, and then voiceover talent happened. Is it the same way that people say you're a pretty good cook, you should make Mrs. Fields cookies? How did that happen?
That's a great question, especially for voiceovers. I was in the corporate world, yes, for many, many years, a very traditional corporate job. The good thing, I was in the position of marketing, so there was some creativity to that. But when I left the corporate world, I was a troublemaker. All my friends were still working, so you couldn't call somebody up and say, let's play today. Well, no, I have to work. And my daughter got me thinking about, why don't you do something you really like? And ever since I was a kid, my dream was to have a late night call-in talk show. This is in the days of AM radio that had vacuum tubes, and you had a clock radio in this little slot in the headboard of your bed. And I would listen to the local guy that did this, and that's what I wanted to do. So the next closest step, since I had no following, was suggested by a friend, said, why don't you try voiceover? You've got a voice. Voiceover takes so much more than a voice.
It does.
Yeah, especially today.
It's interesting. We've had a couple of different voiceover people on. And so John Bailey, Epic Voice Guy, gives trainings in it because it's actually surprisingly difficult. There's certain things, though, you have to be able to do with your voice, and you either kind of can or can't. Yeah. And if you want to do a wide range of characters and stuff like that. Some can read just in their voice, and it's fine. But other people do different character voices and stuff, and it seems like it's sort of a different set of skills. So are you you always, or do you play different characters?
Yeah, I do. I enjoy character work, so I do have a pocket full of characters that I can play and I enjoy. And I think what you were talking about is so relevant for voiceovers today, probably forever, but especially today. I have 3 voiceover coaches for 3 different areas of voiceover. You continually hone your craft. Just as Len Joy, I learned he has coaches for his triathlete training. He has coaches for his writing. You need it. it takes more than a voice. And today that's the least important thing, unless you have that really irritating voice and nobody wants to listen to. But if
In which case, maybe you just write.
That's right. Yeah. High-pitched men's voices go on to become authors, successful authors. But you really do need to train. I think that's the key point in so many people wanting to break into voiceover. How do I, what do I need to do? What microphone do I need? What this, what that? What you need is coaching and acting lessons. It's all about acting at the end of the day.
Mike's looking for a rotary phone for the new landline. Try the museum mic. It's my advice.
eBay lives. One thing I was going to say, you were talking about wanting to be the nighttime request person, and Steve was mentioning people like Larry Glick and all that. My mom and dad were both radio DJs back in the day, and my dad was the morning news guy, and my mom was the sultry nighttime request show lady.
What part of the country did you grow up in?
Augusta, Maine.
All right.
WABK for a while, and a few others. So very important competitive marketplace.
Kevin backstage.
That accent from.
Oh, it doesn't hurt that neither of my parents really liked that accent for radio, so that helped. Yeah. It didn't help. It didn't hurt that I never wanted to have a Maine or Massachusetts accent. Okay. Yeah. Maine's like right up the nose, and then you take out the nose part and you go down to Massachusetts, and there's just no as. Yeah. Kerry's from Cape Cod, and also didn't have that kind of. We've all hidden our where we're from.
No, my dad was a Harvard guy, so he had the Harvard accent. Like he could have been like Walter Cronkite. But my mom sounds like Ben Affleck in The Town. She's from Somerville.
South Boston.
And still, even now, she's 81 and she sounds that way now, even still. So Kevin backstage has very helpfully suggested that you say something interesting, like an interesting, cool statement in an authoritative voice. And it just so happens I have one ready.
Oh, you do?
You want to give it a whirl?
Sure. Yeah, I'm just going to clear my throat here. He thrusts his fists against the posts and still insists he sees the ghosts.
I'll never get tired of it.
That's not authoritative.
This is why I keep booking people. Oh, you want to do it again? You want another take?
Well, see if I can do authoritative. That's hard for me because I'm such a nice guy. Other people describe me out. Well, anyway. He thrusts his fists against the post and still insists he sees the ghosts. Or bippity bumpity rippity rumpity. No, we're not going to
go. Voiceover jokes.
Yeah. I know, voiceover humor.
No, jokes. Yeah.
You had mentioned earlier about the fact that I did my audio for my books, and I pushed. Well, the first time I don't think it was that hard to push. I had been doing a podcast. Everyone could hear my voice. They were like, "Well, it's good enough." And it turns out that a lot of authors can't read their own books. It turns out it's a bad idea for that. Have you ever been sort of friends with, part and parcel, or nearby the struggle of authors who really wished they could? And had you ever had the chance to convince them maybe don't do that?
I've just had one opportunity to convince an author not to do that. And this was an epic book that I ended up narrating, a 34-hour audiobook. And there was a lot of interesting quirks why I suggested the author not do that. But it's difficult I believe it's really difficult other than celebrity authors like yourself. And you did I've listened to not entire audiobooks that you did, but samples of them. And you do a great Chris Brogan. Because you are, so all that authenticity that's in the book comes through as you narrate it. And narrating an audiobook is just totally different than any other sort of voiceover genre, I believe. It's just crazy.
You're right about that because there's such a breadth. Like you're not doing an 8-second read and a 14-second read or whatever. You're right. I never thought about the fact that someone has to live with your voice. You said 34 hours.
Yeah. How about that? And there was seven of the female leads were all from the South, and that in itself was fun. So,
thank you, Steve. Steve is sourcing my tongue twister. I first heard it in Stephen King's book It, because one of the main characters had a speech impediment growing up, and to lose it, he did that. He had a stutter.
Yeah, and that'd probably be good for siblings too.
Kevin says, I feel sorry for the poor sap who read my book on Audible. I couldn't even listen to my babble. And Gary says, where do you market your services? I heard you can audition on Audible for different projects. Is that true?
Absolutely. Audible has a site, really. Amazon has a site called acx.com. And it's, I think, Audio Creation Exchange, Audiobook Creation Exchange is what that ACX stands for. But anybody can post, a wannabe narrator can post his profile, her profile, put up samples, see if an author invites you to audition, or you can audition for any one of there's about 1,500 books up there right now. So you can read the audition script, and if an author likes you, they may just hire you.
Chris, it sounds like you could get some work.
Not really, because Larry, who in his greatness, said, "Chris, you did a great Chris Brogan." I was very
diplomatic, is what you're saying.
The thing is, so I've listened to a lot of my author friends, who've read their own books, and there's a difference. There's people who read their book as if they're reading their book. There's an incredible experience that happens in marketing. When you get to, so for instance, I read a lot of books by special operators, snipers, and people who have done things with the SEALs and all that. Not a single one of them's a great author, a great reader of their works. The books are great. Sometimes they've had help. Sometimes they're just great writers, but none of them are especially a reader. And that's a big thing to have to swallow, I think, sometimes too.
It really is in some books too. Another thing that I've noticed, many books are written without the idea that they're going to be turned into audiobooks. So a good narrator will help make them a little bit more audio friendly. Take out some he said, she saids, because if the narrator's doing good, you know who's talking. But when you're reading the book, you need to know who's talking versus the audio portion, where the voice itself will let you know.
Yeah, Chris, make it easy for people.
Well, I feel so self-introspective. This is the worst episode because I'm talking about myself a lot. Reading back Trust Agents, I realized as I'm reading it, I was like, this is not a really good sentence. This is not an out loud sentence. It reads in your head okay. Right. It's not good out loud.
Yeah, so the reader has to make some of those decisions along with the author and let them know, I may honor all of your punctuation, I may not, because again, in the printed page, you need a comma here, but if you hear that somebody tell you the story, they don't need that pause.
You're so bossy, Larry. You're like, screw your semicolon.
Oh yeah, Chris. Right. I don't need another semicolon in my life for crying out loud.
You're not a semicolon, Dad.
Chloe asks, do you have a routine or tips for maintaining your voice when doing longer recording sessions?
Yeah, hydrate, drink a lot of water, and be sure to drink a lot of water. And what I tend to do is after about 40 minutes, I get up, I walk out of the booth and walk around, just do a little physical thing. And rest. It's amazing. Rest and breathe. Rest, breathe, hydrate is really good for long reads.
You can go listen to some of Larry's demos over on Voice Sam. That'll keep you busy for a while.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
I have a really in the weeds question. How many hours can you read at a time before your voice goes all reedy?
I do when I'm doing an audiobook, I try to have 2 finished hours of audio a day. And I narrated about 2 to 1. So that takes 4 hours of narration. But again, I'm breaking about every 45 minutes. But at the end of that 4 hours, my voice is all messed up.
So you beat me by a whole hour.
Don't drink dairy. You're so competitive.
I know, but I didn't realize that, a man of
for 8 years, you read your own books occasionally.
A man of 50, and I can only get 3 hours out. That's all.
It's ridiculous. Really. Chloe says she loves audiobooks when it feels like she's sitting having coffee with the narrator. Yeah. It's the only way I can engage or retain the content. It does make a difference. I listened to Alan Alda's book, If I Understood You, Would I Have This Look on My Face? And I got his jokes faster, and the way he puts emphasis on certain words makes all the difference. Well, on the other hand, I've heard other audiobooks where people they're sort of lovingly go over their favorite phrases and it's almost distracting. So
it's got to be for the listener. The audiobook's there for the listener and to engage them and pull them in. And it's a very personal experience, because you're kind of sitting here telling somebody a story, like as if they were right here, and rather than just reading off the page. And that's where the training comes in. The author itself, the material you read has a lot to do with it. Len Joy's books just were a pleasure to read, especially I'm from the Midwest. American Pastime, and his most recent book we released in audio, which is Everyone Dies Famous. Again, set in the Midwest.
Have that back there. Have it on my shelf.
His style is just so easy to narrate, to read.
So I don't even like sports, but when I listen to some of his books that have a heavy, theme of basketball or something in them, it's still very interesting because it's all powered by the human drama behind it.
Exactly. And that's what I think really brings the reader in.
Mike says, when I get a sinus infection, my voice drops like Barry White. So here's a funny story, Mike. My best friend told me I had to continue to get bronchitis because I had a very sexy, like sort of husky voice. She said, Kerry, you must keep this voice. I don't care what you have to do. So funny.
Yeah, Susan, I will answer that. The answer is yes.
Hi,
get the
Jody.
audiobook. Hey, Jody. Listen, two things. Gary Stockton had a real question, but right below it, he asked a very important question.
All right, this is the important question.
Has anyone ever told you look a little like Pete Townsend from The Who?
No, that's interesting. Thank you. I wish I'd get some of his royalties by mistake. But
Really?
No, I've been told I look like a lot of different people or a lot of different things. But no, I've not heard that.
But I feel like it's not the same. But I have gotten. Gary says, did it take you very long to ramp up your new career after you left corporate marketing?
Yes, I'm still ramping up. Yes, it's
the short answer.
It's like everything. It is a very competitive world. Internet certainly has disrupted the voiceover business. We've got another big disruption coming from AI, the artificial intelligent voices. That are synthesized from many voiceovers that don't understand it's kind of cannibalistic to participate in providing your voice to these AI machines, because a lot of the lower paid commercial work is going to some of this AI stuff, but they still can't get that nuance for documentaries, the nuance of the human voice. Even when I have a great relationship now with Alexa. I mean, we're getting along wonderful, but I'll still hear when she says, "Have a nice day, Larry." She just doesn't sound sincere.
She doesn't.
You don't think she means it?
I think she says that to all the guys.
Have a nice day, Kerry.
Yeah.
That makes it worse. All right.
That creeps my kids out when she does that 100% of the time.
It's funny.
We're going to grab our man.
Alexa's like vaguely sexist because it answers me like a third of the time, but my son will answer him 100%
all the time.
Yeah.
He's got the touch.
There's times I've asked it for the weather or something. It won't say a thing. And then Jack will be like, Alexa, what's the weather? And she comes right out with it. I'm like, you can see it on my face how annoyed I am.
Well, we all know that Scottish people, because Nancy's here, we all know that Scottish people aren't allowed to use Alexa. Doesn't work.
They're not. Oh, because it doesn't.
There are incredible videos of watching Scottish people try to get Alexa to do anything.
Chloe says, Chloe, your accent is charming. So I don't know what Alexa's problem is.
All right. We're grabbing Kevin back.
Okay.
By the way, there was a question earlier about like what kind of things not to do with audio. And Sue's mentioned don't drink dairy products or don't consume dairy products. So I just learned don't squeeze pure lime juice in. I had this right at the table. Well, I'm thirsty and there's no more water in my glass. And so I thought, well, lime juice is liquid. Yeah. I've squeezed lime juice and I've been choking ever since.
Yeah, that's some.
Is there a babysitting service for adult authors? We need one.
When Kevin Brent mentioned earlier about his babysitter came over, I first thought it was like, you have a babysitter?
Well, it's like a kink thing, probably. I mean, we don't need to go into that here. So save that for late night radio.
Charges hourly, but
quarter of the hour.
By the quarter. Oh,
well, not long before you learn that lesson.
7 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like a nap rate at the old motels. Huh?
Oh, wow.
No.
Does he talk like it's late night? We talk like it's late night.
So listen, this is a business show. And one of the funniest things that ever happened is that when LinkedIn finally said that we could be a business show on their network because they were playing hard to get and they were very coy, that was the day we interviewed the dominatrix.
No, the sexologist.
Oh, the sexologist. I'm so sorry.
Yes.
Because the sexologist made it a little better because she brought props.
Oh.
That I think made it worse.
What was your business angle?
It was success. So our show is business success show. So we're like, how do you take something that kind of nobody wants to talk about, but everybody does, and turn it into a business? And we were, of course, I'm like, what questions do people whisper to you in the bathroom? They didn't want to say it in front of everybody at the conference, but they want to know. And so there we are having a talk about anal sex, on LinkedIn. And we kind of forgot that we were on LinkedIn.
Yeah, we sort of forgot the LinkedIn part. Until we got this great write-up afterwards about, I'm here for it.
Yeah, somebody really liked it. So
the real specific thing about the business angle, though, is that they always say sex sells, and the illegal act of sex sells for sure. But how do you make an actual monetizable, grown-up people business? And one of the things she is a toy concierge, so she gets a small percentage off toys she sells, but she can talk about which ones are the best ones for the system. What an interesting time, because sex toy sales went up 368% during quarantine, as one would presume.
She had a dizzying array of things. I mean, we're way off the rails here, but she'd be like, oh, well, then there's this. And then there's this. She would just keep bringing things in.
Have you ever tried one of these?
I didn't know from where. Yeah, it was really interesting.
I just realized we've spent a quarter of this show talking about past guests. So
rent a hotel room to take a nap. Well, that's because Len Joy is amazing.
Yes,
that is
Scottish people's voices providing accidental comedy for years, says Chloe.
Not untrue. Listen, question for the both of you gents. We are very much in a portfolio career kind of world. Kevin, I think you work at an agency right now, but you still, that work is always that way anyway. It's very portfolio. I don't think you're on just one account, are you?
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you, and because you went through that point in your life where you could have run your own business or whatnot, and where Larry, you could have left it all behind and just decided screw agencies for a bit. Or maybe you did.
I did. Yeah.
Are you still drinking lime juice?
I'm still dying from the lime juice. The rest of the episode is going to be me going,
stop drinking it. You're making it worse.
No, there's nothing in my hands. There's nothing in my mouth. I'm just drinking it in my throat. How's that? Pretend I was going to ask a question without trying to draw attention to me choking to death. Gentlemen, tell me, what is it to go out and try to find your work right now? What are you doing to sort of get your work? And I know, like I said, Kevin's from an agency, so you get what you get, but what's acquisition like right now, and how do you kind of put that together?
Well, just from my view, I will tell you that being in a flyover state, and I do have agent representation, but most of the work, if it's not word of mouth or referral type work, comes from going out and marketing yourself. It's a business. Voiceover, as fun as it is, if you're going to do it as a business, you've got to market yourself. And, a lot of calls, pointed emails, and follow-up calls.
Yeah, same. I mean, networking. I never found a job through a recruiter. It's always network. And when I was doing my own consulting, it was the same thing. No cold leads.
No cold leads, I think, would be one of the most important things. By the way, the VoiceOver Academy says not so much as lemon can dry the throat.
Just stop. Here's what I don't get about you. If it's doing something bad, stop doing it.
I only did it the one time. I'm just living through it. If you eat a hot pepper, you don't go, I'll stop taking a bite.
That's right.
Voice activated elevators for Scottish accent.
Even an amoeba learns by repetition, Chris.
I have
someday
repetition necessary than other people. What can I say? One last question, and then we're going to ask you the backpack question. What's got your attention now beyond politics? That's an easy answer. But what has your attention? What's something where you kind of want to try to lose yourself for a little bit, or where do you kind of put your thoughts and feelings?
Well, drones right now. Cool. I'm obsessed with drones.
I did not expect you to say that. I don't know what I expected you to say, but that wasn't it.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of lame.
Is this like a drone that flies in and makes a fart noise and then flies away?
Actually, I'm planning a prank with the drone where basically I put $1 on a long string, and the minute somebody goes to pick it up, the drone shoots up. That's my next prank.
Okay, now it makes sense. It's all
Larry,
coming
what do you
together.
got? What do you got, Larry?
Well, I'll tell you, and it's a little bit more esoteric than I normally get, but I'm interested in really helping folks in my age bracket because I'm here in this fourth quarter.
27 to 35?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, about 50 years ago. No, but reaching a fitness level, a decent fitness level. When I say decent fitness level, not just have a healthy life, a healthy lifestyle, because it's pretty simple. And that's what I'm striving for and really trying to get
So
into.
do you or do you not drink lime juice, like just straight lime juice?
Straight. I actually I let it dry. I squirt a line on the table, let it dry, and then I take a straw, and when it gets into your nasal cavity, it really
Don't call a guy
No.
out like that.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I do it. You need the blue straw though; it'll help.
Get it wrong every time. This is a Dunkin' Donut straw. I'm in Massachusetts.
Now you've done it.
Sorry, folks.
Here we go. Kevin's a great drone pilot. Great footage.
Well, yeah, the Vimeo stuff is where I'm playing around with like HD flying.
I was about to
So
say,
much fun.
Don't try this at home.
that cat one didn't quite do it. Yeah.
Now I'm crying.
all right. I'm still choking. That's all I'm doing.
Oh, well, we'll miss you.
Here's a backpack question.
Maybe Larry can narrate the next Trust Agents book.
Trust agents for quick.
You're not around.
But I'll do it with lime juice.
That's what I have to- By the way, this is so like inside baseball, but I did get a bunch of stops from my director saying, "Chris, are you like eating a peach while we're talking?" He's like,
Chris,
like-
you're juicy again. Back it
"Can't
up.
help it." So then I'm over here. What do you think? You grab a few paper towels and you're like, that doesn't work either.
Whatever you're doing, stop it.
All the things. What goes in your look? This is their one time being our guest. They think we're idiots.
I know.
Pretty true.
Sorry.
What goes in your backpack is the question. And the question is basically, again, shifting sands. Everything's crazy. The world's blown up. It's chaos.
One thing.
Chicken nuggets falling from the sky. What one thing, physically or metaphorically, can we throw into your backpack for the future? I'll go with Kevin first.
That Kermit puppet for sure.
Oh, what?
The Kermit puppet behind you. I mean, I could talk to myself, entertain myself. It's a backpack show with our very special hosts, Kerry and Chris. Yay! Yeah, there you go.
I don't think I ever realized that was a puppet until just now.
Oh my god.
I don't.
So
I'm
fun.
concerned. I never wondered where his legs were.
I don't have any kind of acting skills for this puppet or any other.
That's good.
That was good.
Can you ask him about lime juice? Would he give it? I mean, would he? So, Larry, what goes in your backpack for success? What one thing? No cheating. No saying like another backpack.
No, one thing. I wish I could have thought of that. The one thing I would put in my backpack is chutzpah. And I don't know if everybody knows what chutzpah is, but it translates to balls, big balls. I think you need that in any walk of life today.
Especially
Check.
to survive an apocalypse, you're going to need that.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
got it, Larry.
Kerry has big balls.
Yeah. No,
You don't like to draw.
no,
I knew the
that
lime
came out
juice thing
wrong.
would come back to bite me. I knew it. Kermit is my new favorite answer.
Thanks, Chloe.
Pretty happy.
Wow.
It's Friday. I forgot what day it was. I have not known what day it was since March.
Yeah, exactly. It's all
welcome to my world.
Today is Person of Color Friday, though, so where we can go shopping and avoid stores or something like that.
Black Friday matters.
That does.
I used to do the 5 a.m. thing. I haven't for years. And obviously this year wouldn't be the year to do it.
My grandmother went one time, but it was really weird because everyone who goes to Black Friday goes for the big screen TV or something like that. But my grandmother picked up surprised everyone.